Hello, welcome back or welcome to my channel. It is Sunshine Lorena and let's deal my January TBR. So guys, this is my January TBR and I'm naming my new TBR game Deal My TBR. I have done a bit of searching on YouTube and I don't believe anyone else has a game called this, so hopefully not. And the inspiration came when I got these little playing cards in my cracker. I don't know if you see that, at my work Christmas party. I am gonna have to buy some proper cards though for this. The first time I'm gonna be playing with these, but it's like paper, they're not easy to like move between, so as cute as these are, I'm gonna have to get like proper cards because it's not easy to shuffle and stuff. So next time, in the Feb TBR, you'll see different cards. But yes, I'm going to take you through the rules. First of all, kind of a quick overview, and then we're going to get into the January TBR, pick some cards, see what I have. In January is also Winterween, so I will be featuring my Winterween TBR in this video. And yeah, okay, let me just start explaining. So obviously there's a lot of cards. So what I've done is I have the numbers 1 to 10, and I've each of the suits, so spades, clubs, hearts and diamonds, and they each have a prompt, which I'll have here displayed for you. So they each have a prompt. Then for ace, jack, queen, king, doesn't matter what suit they are, they will have the same prompt. I just decided to do that way. And then the joker, there's one joker in there, so again that's just one prompt, okay? So yes, most of these are self-explanatory, but I'll just cover a quick couple in case you're not too sure about the prompts. I will probably do a refresh maybe in a year's time or something. I'll see how it goes, but these prompts can be refreshed and changed. So most of them, like I said, is self-explanatory. So 24 is going to be when I bring out my 24 and 24 video. You will see the whole list of the books that I want to try and read in 24. Colour wheel, I'm just going to use a colour wheel, and whatever colour it lands on, it needs to be the colour that the book has on the cover, the majority of it. TBR prompt game. During the last year, you know, I was doing different kind of TBR games, but I found that online there's a couple different ones like where you can play and like get a random prompt selected for you. So that is what that is. Poll pick, most likely that'll be done on Instagram because I feel like I'll get the quickest results on there. So I'll just put up a poll of like 4 different books and let people vote on it, which one that I have to actually read. Letter generator, I'll use a letter generator to randomly generate a letter, and the title needs to start with that letter, excluding the. So if it's like and this, oh wow, I can't think of a title with the, guys. The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, that I would go with S. We wouldn't include the because there's a lot of books that have the, okay? Also for that letter, it could be the first letter of the author's name, like the first or surname as well, or the country that author's from. So if you didn't see my announcement, I'm going to be doing a read around the world challenge, which is going to take several years, guys. So yes, it can be also the letter of the country that the author's from, which will help tick off the read around the world prompts, countries as well. Seasonal obviously is going to be like, if now, because we are in December currently, if it came out seasonal, I would have picked like a Christmassy book. February could be like Valentine's Day, you know, Easter, do a spring book, etc. Out of comfort zone, yeah, it's something that's completely out of my comfort zone. It could be whether it be the genre, it could be the topic of the book. You know, it could be a variety of different reasons. However, yesterday, Storygraph announced that like they're doing like recommendations. They've just literally just brought this out, and there is a section out of comfort zone. So it's based on obviously the books you read, the things you said you like, you don't like. So there's some suggestions. So potentially I could use that Storygraph suggestions for out of comfort zone, which I think is really good. I already had this plotted out and I saw that and I was like, that would help. Anyway, another one, place in the title. So, you know, it'll be like a country, town, etc. City that could be in the title. Highest rated, I'm going to use Goodreads for that. I definitely need to update my shelves for the highest because it is the lowest rated, same thing, it's going to be the lowest rated. I'll just sort the ones on my shelves. So I need to, yeah, really do like a review of the data on there. So hopefully I don't get it on this game. BIPOC, so there'll be Black, Indigenous or person of colour, so that could be the author, it could be that the majority of the characters in the book fall into BIPOC. You get that idea. Again, would be one that would probably help with my Read Around the World challenge, because there's so many different countries where there are for authors who are BIPOC, so that has certainly helped that one as well. from a country I've never been to, so it's one that I've never actually travelled to. The book has to come from there. Again, helping Read Around the World challenge, guys. And yeah, that's fine. In terms of for ACE Buzzwordathon, so Lala from Books and Lala does this challenge every single year, and I have never taken part in the Buzzwordathon. She each month there is a different word you should focus on, and it should be in the title of the book. So if I get that, I will pick one of those books. I want to try and do this challenge because I've never done it before. But what I'm going to do is across the year. So I'm not going to exactly, if I don't do January's one in January, you know, I could do it in February, etc. I'm going to see how many I can get in the year. Probably something that has not been published in the last, should I say around 5-ish years? If you have an opinion on this, please let me know below. I'm just thinking maybe the last 5 years not to be included in that backlist. I think it needs to be more or less free pick, because like the king is the king and I just get to choose whatever I want to do. Joker intimidating book. So a book that intimidates me. This could be the size of it, because I do have some chunky boys on those shelves. It could be because the genre it's in, the topic. It could be like, I'm scared, am I gonna actually like this? It's been so hyped up. You know, just those kind of ideas. And quickly, because this is taking a while to explain, guys, just a couple of rules. I need to draw 5 cards each month, and I need to read at least 50% of the book in the month that I chose it for the prompt, okay? And that is for that card to count. Which now we get onto the fun bit. So the reward, guys. Also, wait, before I do that, about the 5 cards, at the moment I don't have any rule where I have to add additional books to my TBR, and that is because I am studying for a qualification at work, the exam's in June. So for these first 6 months of the year, I do not want to be adding any additional books onto my TBR that I have than I already have. Post June, I will do it. I'll bring in a rule about that, but just for these first 6 months, that's not going to be a thing. If I don't read it, if, you know, we're not going to add any extra cards. Now, for the 50% to count, for that card to count, I can still read the book the next month, but if it's not been 50%, if I picked out an ace, that ace is not going to count because there is a reward system. So at the end of the year, I'm going to see how many hands, so I'm using the poker hand, so how many hands I can get. Now, each of them, because I looked it up, made sure there are 10. So from lowest to highest, it's £1, £2, £3, etc. to the 10. Okay, so you have, I'll have the graph up here, sorry, high card, £1, and then Royal Flush is worth £10 if I get it. So from the cards that I have available, I'm gonna, at the end of the year, try and see if I'm able, how many hands I can actually make up. Obviously they can only be used once, but if, for example, I pull like the 10 of hearts and I match that to whatever book that is, and then another, like 2 months later I get the 10 of hearts, I have a different book, I have 2 10 of hearts to use in the hands. I hope that makes sense. Now, if by some miracle, because it would be a miracle, that I manage to I pick my 5 cards and it turns out to be one of these hands, that amount will be doubled. I feel like it's not going to happen, but in case it does, guys, we're doubling the value. That money is then going to be used for a book shopping spree. I'm going to treat myself like the end of the year, maybe in January. We'll see how it kind of works out. I'm just thinking, I might make this decision in November because normally Waterstones has like double stamps or whatever, and it might make sense to do rewards, like kind of do something then. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, that's it. I've been speaking for ages now. Let's just get into it and see what cards I'm being dealt for my TBR. Okay, so the 5 of Spades letter generator, and as you can see here, I got the letter P. So I have decided to choose Pride and Premeditation. This is the first Jane Austen murder mystery. It's the first book in the series, and it's by Tirza Price. The author is from the USA, so I'll be able to tick off USA because on the Read Around the World challenge, the great thing about this first month is I'm pretty much, I think, gonna just, all of them is gonna like tick off lots of different countries because I am starting from scratch from the start of the year, so that's good. But anyway, this is Jane Austen but murder mystery. So it is a truth universally acknowledged that a young woman who desires a law career must be in want of a case. So when 16-year-old Lizzie Bennet hears about a scandalous society murder, she sees an opportunity to prove herself as a solicitor by solving the case and ensuring justice is served. Except the man accused of the crime already has a lawyer on his side, Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy. The stern-young heir to the prestigious Prembley Associates law firm, Lizzie is determined to solve the murder before Darcy can, so that she can show the world that a woman can be just as good as a man. The fact that Darcy is an infuriating snob does not help. But there's still a killer on the loose, and as the case gets more complicated, Lizzie and Darcy may have to start working together to avoid becoming the next victims themselves. So I have heard good things about this book. It is YA, as you can tell from the main character's age in this, but there is another couple already done in the series, but it's murder mysteries but based around the Jane Austen novels. Obviously this one's for Pride and Prejudice. It sounds really fun. I am going to be listen to this on audiobook from Everend. So yeah, great. I'm trying to mix up as much as possible the books on my TBR, because when there are too many physical books, guys, I do terribly. And I want these cards to count. So, the Five of Clubs thriller, I have chosen The Boy in the Headlights by Samuel Bjork. And this is going to be my Winterween TBR, guys, and it will be snowy setting. Hopefully you can see, all nice and snowy. This is the third in the series. I read the first two. These are thrillers. He is Norwegian, it's set in Norway, and they are just so good. Like, the Scandi thrillers, guys, are chef's kiss, amazing. In general, I've read a few different ones. I love them. But the writing, when I was reading, I have up there traveling alone. I'm traveling alone. I don't physically own the I Will Only Hunt at Night. I'm still thinking maybe of buying the physical one, because I really enjoy them. It follows Detective Kruger and Mia plus their team, but they are the two kind of main police detectives who we're following, and there's always a different case in each of the books. They tend to be quite dark thrillers. Police thrillers are not necessarily ones I normally go for, but these ones are they're so good, guys. They're not like your typical police thrillers. I think the Scandi ones are better, guys. They're better. So this one is winter 1996. An old man slows to avoid hitting a deer on a mountain road, but instead he finds a young boy in his headlights, frightened and alone. Many years later, a body is found in a mountain lake. Within weeks, 3 people have died. But what connects the past and the present? Each body carries a clue, inviting special investigations detective Monchen Kruger to play a game that they cannot possibly win against the most dangerous and terrifying kind of serial killer, one who chooses victims at completely random. I love it. I think it's great. It is, they're so good, guys. It's really good. I highly recommend these, and I think it's perfect. I'm going to use it for winter setting on Winterween. So the Joker card, which is the worst card to pull, and it's the intimidating book, guys. I went, and I will explain in a moment my reasons for this, but I've went It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Why is this intimidating to me? First of all, I've had this on my shelves for quite a few years. I recently read my second Colleen Hoover, Layla. I gave it 1 star. I read Verity quite a few years ago and I gave it 3 stars. So it seems like Colleen Hoover is not for me. So now I'm a bit intimidated to read this one, because I feel like it doesn't live up to the hype. I feel like I'm kind of intimidated to have a different opinion from like the majority of BookTok, Bookstagram, BookTube, because everyone seems to love this. But I do want to read this because, you know, because the film is going to be coming out, so I do want to read it beforehand, but I am intimidated by it. Also, I feel like it's sad and I'm probably going to like cry, but I don't know if it's going to be like a good cry, because like there's certain books that make you cry and it's like, it's a good cry. It's a good, you know, like it was needed, like the emotions, and I'm intimidated. But yes, it is a romance. We end up with some sort of like triangle situation, because we have Lily and she moves to Boston after she's graduated college, and then she starts dating this neurosurgeon called Ryle Kinnaird, and her life just seems too good to be true. But he seems to have an aversion to relationships and she finds that disturbing. However, then her ex turns up, who is Atlas Corrigan, her first love and a link to past she left behind. And when Atlas appears, everything Lily has built with Ryle is threatened. So there is a bit of a triangle situation. But yes, intimidated by this one. Then the next one was The Queen of Spades. Like I said, the Queen is the same prompt, and that is backlist title. However, I'm keeping note of which Queen it is so that, you know, we can try and get some hands and money for books at the end of the year. So yes, backlist title. I have chosen The Restaurant at the End of the Universe by Douglas Adams. This is the second book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. I listened to the first one on audiobook a couple of months ago. Really enjoyed it. I'm not normally a sci-fi book person, so this is one of the rare exceptions. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. This is the second one which I have in my Audible library. I'm trying to like clear that and listen to them. They're not long. It is 5 hours 47 minutes, so they're quite short, but I thought it was really funny. I really enjoyed it. This time it's narrated by Martin Freeman, who was in the film, wasn't he, for the first one, I believe. So yeah, different audio narrator. As the first one was done by Stephen Fry, and I really enjoyed it, so it's going to be interesting to see what this next one is. So yeah, like I said, this is the second part in his classic series. If you've done 6 impossible things this morning, why not round it off with breakfast at Milloway's, the restaurant at the end of the universe? Which is exactly what the crew of the Heart of Gold plan to do. There's just a small matter of escaping the Vogons, avoid being taken to the most totally evil world in the galaxy, and teaching a spaceship how to make a proper cup of tea. And did anyone actually make a reservation? Follow Arthur Dent's galactic misadventures and the rest of the trilogy, blah 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 blah. Okay, so yes, this is continuing on from the first one. Obviously it's going to be using the same sort of characters, but they're just funny. I love it. You obviously need to read these in order because the first one is the setup to how we are in this world and situation. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's really fun. I have been listening to way more audiobooks I found in 2023, so trying to balance out this TBR with a little bit more audiobooks. Okay, the seven of hearts, and that is ebook, so great one to pull out. Again, this is another one that is going to be on my Winterween TBR, and that is The Darkness by Ragnar Johansson. This is number 1 in the Hidden Iceland thriller series. This is classed as Nordic noir, and I've never read anything by this author, but I got the ebook quite a few years ago, plans to read it because it just sounds so incredible. Again, those like the boy in the headlights with the Scandi thrillers, I'm getting those vibes of like dark thriller, you know? So yes, like I said, this is going to be in my Winterween TBR, like reading in the dark, or I'm just thinking all of the prompts, guys. My winter, I didn't mention this before, but my Winterween TBR, I'm not following all of the prompts because there's a theme this year, the winter one, of like a witchy theme. So there's like a book with a witch on the cover, which there's no books that I want to read that have witches on covers, so I'm not kind of following that. And this read a book with a W in the title. Normally they had like thriller or horror or something, which they don't have this year. This one I think would fall into the snowy winter setting. There's a read a book in the dark. It doesn't have purple in the cover, you know, so, but I'm gonna be reading part of that TBR, guys, for that video, you know. So this one, spanning the icy streets of Reykjavik, the Icelandic highlands and cold isolated fjords, The Darkness is the atmospheric thriller and one of the most exciting names from Ragnar Johansson, one of the most exciting names in Nordic noir. The body of a young Russian woman washes up on an Icelandic shore. After a cursory investigation, the death is declared a suicide and the case is quietly closed. Over a year later, Detective Inspector Hulda Hermannsdottir, I'm sorry, I should have looked up how to pronounce that, of the Reykjavik police is forced into early retirement at 64. She dreads the loneliness and the memories of her dark past that threaten to come back to haunt her. But before she leaves, she is given 2 weeks to solve a single cold case of her choice. She knows which one, the Russian woman whose hope for asylum ended in the dark cold shore of an unfamiliar country. Soon, Hilda discovers that young women vanished at the same time and that no one is telling her the whole story. Even her colleagues in the police seem determined to put the brakes on her investigation. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. Hilda will find the killer even if it means putting her own life in danger. Sounds so good, like those dark vibes. I'm here for it. Perfect for January and Winterween. So that is all of the cards I drew. I do have one additional book to discuss to let you know I'm going to be reading because it's one for Winterween. It's going to be the prompt with purple on the cover. Now guys, it is a woman in the purple skirt. Now the cover that is on Everend, because I'm going to listen to the audiobook, it's only like 3 hours. It doesn't have purple, but it literally has purple on the cover because that's the title. I'm counting it, guys. So this is by Natsuko Imawara. This is by a Japanese author, so it's a translated book. I can tick off Japan on my Read the World challenge, and it's a really short one, so it could be like read in the dark on that prompt as well. It's for Winterween, so I can tick off 2 prompts. So this one, almost every day the woman in the purple skirt buys a single cream bun and goes to the park, where she sits on the bench to eat it as the local children taunt her. She observed at all times by the undetected narrator, the woman in the yellow cardigan. From a distance, the woman in the purple skirt looks like a schoolgirl, but there are age spots on her face and her hair is dry and stiff. Like the woman in the yellow cardigan, she is single, she lives in a small rundown apartment, and she is short on money. The woman in the yellow cardigan lures her to a job where she herself works as a hotel keeper. Soon the woman in the purple skirt is having an affair with the boss. Unfortunately, no one knows or cares about the woman in the yellow cardigan. That's the difference between her and the woman in the purple skirt. Studiously deadpan, highly original and unsettling. The woman in the purple skirt explores the dynamics of envy, the mechanism of power in the workplace, and the vulnerability of unmarried women in a taut, voyeuristic narrative, and the sometimes desperate desire to be seen. Sounds super interesting, very different from books I've read before, so I think it's going to be an interesting read. And yeah, I just kind of like the fact that they don't have names and they're like about items of clothes, the woman in the purple skirt and the woman in the yellow cardigan. Sounds really interesting. And that's it for my first TBR game, guys. Let me know what you think of my rules, if you think I should add anything, change anything, and let's hope, guys, that I can get all of these cards so that I can get that reward at the end of the year. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, leave a comment of your thoughts, hit subscribe if you don't want to miss any more content from me, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye! And this, let's deal. Yeah.